Hey everybody, Sharon, lovely to have you online. We have emailed and texted a few times and we still have yet to catch up, but we will do that shortly, I promise you. I met Niki a few years ago now, and it was only recently that we discovered that we were both working on different sort of charitable projects, and Niki's been working in Vanuatu.
Sorry, Bruce, we're dropping in and out there with
what?
Okay, we're dropping in and out.
Oh
dear, worst nightmare. So just
I don't know, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Maybe it's Tara that's dropping in there.
It could be other people's internet. Your internet seems to be showing that it's working well, Kathy.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll keep going. Tara, it must be yours. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so we discovered and knew that what we were doing with the Days for Girls project would also be able to help Niki's project. So that was how this all started, and I'm just going to hand over to Niki now to talk about her project and how we've integrated the Days for Girls in there as well, and the wonderful work that she's doing. So I'll hand over to Niki.
Hello everybody, nice to meet you via the internet. Well, just to pick up where Kathy left off, for the last 2.5–3 years, my husband and I have been working on taking educational resources to different parts of Vanuatu as a result of our son, who lived in Vanuatu and also the Solomon Islands for 2 years prior. In fact, he was on Tana Island when Cyclone Pam went through, and with feedback from him, he was missing for 5 days, and with feedback from him that hearing that the resources weren't actually getting to the people as quickly as we believed they were, I decided that I wanted to hand deliver resources that would have a long-term benefit for people both in Vanuatu and also the Solomon Islands. So, like Kathy said, we met a couple of years ago, and I found out what she was doing. She found out what I was doing, and definitely the Days for Girls washable sanitary packs are a great complement to educational resources that I was taking over that had a long-term benefit. So, can I move the slides across?
Yeah.
How do I do that?
You can do it just by clicking on the arrows down the bottom there.
Okay.
So
if you've got any questions, I'm not sure if you want to ask them at the end or part way through, but maybe just interrupt me. So this trip where I took the Days for Girl packs and some educational resources went to Honiara on Guadalcanal, which is part of the Solomon Islands. Honiara is the capital. I was really lucky because my son had lived there. He was able to connect me with some local people who could, although the language is Pidgin, the local ladies were able to translate for me, so that worked really, really well. That particular lady, her name was Veronica, and her sister, Betty, she was the lady who translated for and actually ran the workshops that for the woman who received the Days for Girls packs, the washable sanitary kits. I'll share a little bit about my whole project so you can see where they fitted in. But the purpose or the intention of my project was to coordinate a project which had, like I mentioned before, an ongoing benefit to the local people, to hand deliver them, the items, but also to inspire contribution from some younger girls in Australia. So I'll talk a little bit about that as we go. So the first place we went to was the Honiara hospital, and there we gave the children some toys and books, and talked to the parents and a little bit about what the children were experiencing with regards to their health challenges. My background is in health leadership, so I really wanted to get a feel for what resources they had, what they didn't have, and if there was anything that I could potentially do long term. So it was very tokenism, my visit to the hospital. I quickly felt, if I can share personally, quite sick in the stomach that my visit was providing soft toys to children who needed medicine. But in saying that, it also gave me an idea of what was needed. From there, we went to so the children, there were 2 children's wards with 15 beds in each ward, and 2 isolated rooms. All the rooms were full. Some of the children had been there for some time. There were no children on drips. The children were predominantly dehydrated, had diarrhea, and were very, very unwell. In fact, in the 2 wards, I can't recall hearing a baby cry or a child cry. So they're fairly lifeless, and except for this little fella, he brightened everybody, brightened everybody's day. He had a head injury, and he'd been there for a little while. That's his brother beside him. This is one little girl, she's 13, and she barely moved. She sat like that. I was there 2 days, went back 2 days in a row, and she remained sitting where she was. It was very, very sad. But from the children's ward, I then went to the Premi, the NICU unit, or Premi baby unit. And here there were probably 15, or between 12 and 15 little babies. All of them had feeding tubes. None of them were on incubators or had drips or anything like that. They were wrapped in these blankets, and it was roasting hot. But it was here that I was able to, with Betty's help, I was able to do something which I thought was really worthwhile, which was to give the mums in this particular ward the washable sanitary kits, sanitary packs from Days for Girls, and we also gave them newborn nappies, which was just a wonderful thing. The mums, if I can just skip through these beautiful little babies, clearly there were some that wouldn't live very long. Oops. So this mum here is talking. Betty is talking to this mum. She has 2 preemie babies, they're twins. They were born at 6.5 months, and Betty is explaining how to use the pack. She was the first lady that we introduced the pack to. The woman from Solomon Islands speak very, very softly. I'm quietly spoken, but when Betty was explaining it to this lady, you could barely hear her speak, but they knew exactly the communication between the 2. They knew exactly what they were talking about. They were very, very humble with the subject of talking about a woman's period and what to do with the kit. And then very quickly after this lady, all the other women started to gather around and want to find out what these kits were. So Betty gave a presentation, or the Days for Girls presentation, to all the women in the unit, and it was very well received. Even the nurses that were working in the unit, they all kind of gathered around and were keenly interested. In fact, I didn't leave the nurses with a pack, which in hindsight I wish I I had asked for more to be able to leave with them, but my primary focus was the women in the unit. Some of the ladies had been there for several weeks. Husbands are not allowed in this unit or family. So I was very careful with what photos we could take and how long we were there, because obviously these babies are at risk. It also has a sign on the hospital as you go in, which says that breastfeeding, bottle feeding is illegal. And a lot of these ladies, the lady in the middle there, if I can remember her name, I think it was Mary from memory, she barely had enough food herself to eat. And so whatever nourishment this poor little baby was getting, her baby was not well at all. But they were very, very grateful and appreciative of the kits, and it was quite a lovely experience meeting with them. Then I went to a church group of young women they were aged between 12 and 18. I can't remember the name of the woman who's standing beside me there, but I actually explained the kits. The girls got very embarrassed. They were, laughing and feeling very uncomfortable, but they were genuinely interested in knowing how to use them. Now, these lovely girls were then taking a pack back to their mums, and they were going to share with their mums how to use the kits. Now, there's one little girl here who came up to me afterwards. This is her here. I can't pronounce her name. I've written it down, but I can't pronounce her name. I forget what it was. But she came up to me in almost tears, but she was overwhelmed that she had this pack. She could go and share it with her mum. And I actually asked Betty afterwards a little bit about this girl and why she might have approached me and been quite emotional with it. And she said her mother is an invalid, and they have 7 children. Excuse me, being a bit emotional. They have 7 children, and she cares for the entire family. And it was going to help her care for her mother. So, excuse me. Let me go back and gather myself together. But the beautiful girls, and once again, very, very humble and grateful. This lady was beautiful. She wanted one to take back for her daughter, and they walked to get to where this church house was. They walked for, I think, a couple of them an hour and a half to get there. When they got there, it was 6 o'clock at night. They were then walking back, and I just, we had made arrangements for them to get home so they could get home safely, because after dark, where they live, it's not particularly safe. But they were extremely grateful, and that was a lovely experience. Just flick through some of those photos. We also took toothbrushes. My dentist, when he heard I was going, said, "Oh, I've got toothbrushes," so we took a little photo with them for the dentist. Brilliant girls. After that, we went on and we took educational supplies to children in the Goldridge area. They were from, I think it's called Oba Village. It was quite difficult to get to that area. It was, I'm not sure if you call the word guarded, but that area was protected by gates and things we had to pass through. And we had the chief with us of that village, so he was able to take us in there. But it was fairly an interesting trip getting into the village. With rocks were thrown at our car and all sorts of things. But one of my intentions, like I said at the beginning, was to inspire service from younger girls here in Australia. And each of these stationary packs, this was prepared by a 12 to 18-year-old girl who wrote a little letter and sent a photo with the pack. So what I really wanted to do was to show people that their resources or the things that they had contributed were actually making it to the people. I remember at the time of the cyclone Pam, people were saying, well, I donated all this stuff, I presume it's got there. So I wanted to make sure that they could see that their efforts had been well worth it and had been received by those who were in need. So there's some of the children from that Goldridge area of a village. And then we went on to a little village. Sorry, there were over 300 children at the last village who received packs, and also the teachers received resources, teaching resources. This is another little village called LDA Village. They had about 40 children. It's just a small village, and it's one of the couple of pictures from them receiving their kits. And then the other place we went to was Mercy Christian School, which receives a lot of aid from Australia. But there we provided, there's over 800 children, and we provided some educational resources for the children and the teachers. Following that, we went to the dump, where a number of families live. This is one lady. If you can, most of the children wear no shoes, and they are walking around garbage all day. So we took thongs, some clothing, some books, and some toys, and then rice and tuna, some food for the families who are living in the dump. That was a really interesting experience. So here's a lady, this is her little home here, little chair, seating. So this is where she lives, and they meet the cars that come into the dump and offload. So basically they meet the vehicle and they offload their garbage to sort through to see if there's anything for them that will be useful. Yeah, none of these children at the back would come near us, none of the boys, so we were throwing thongs and things to them up the top. But mums and all the other people, they're very, very grateful. Expected nothing, but were very grateful for anything that we gave them. And there's much more that could be done there, I'm sure. I just want to quickly flip back to one more picture, which was out of order before. Bear with me for a moment. Oh, here we are. I'll share a little story with you. These two beautiful ladies, the lady in the red, I've got to find what her name was, I keep forgetting, Rebecca. Rebecca has 5 children, and she's got 1 girl. And the other lady to the right, she has 7 children and 3 girls. Now they're holding some Days for Girls packs. I ran a little workshop with some local ladies that my son knew, and they received a pack. We showed them how to use it, and then they were taking them back for their daughters. But just to give you an idea of how much that meant to this particular lady here, she works from early afternoon, around 2 o'clock till midnight, every day, and she earns 150 Solomon Island dollars a month. She is the sole provider of her family. And when she, they call it monthly, when she has her period, she cannot work. So by giving her the pack, it was enabling her to continue working and keep generating income for her family. So it had such a great value to her. She was extremely grateful. She actually bought me a gift, which I should have bought, but she bought me a gift. She travelled, she walked over an hour to see me at the last day before I flew out, because I was only there for 3 days. But we also gave her family some rice and tuna. You know how I mentioned $150 a month that she earns. A 1 kilo bag of rice is equivalent to about $13 Solomon Island dollars, and that's their staple kind of food that they live off, and tuna. So we were able to, with some money that we raised from GoFundMe, we were able to provide these 2 ladies and a number of other people with the people at the dump, a number of other people with some supplies to last them. So she was very grateful. So she walked over an hour to see me, to say thank you and to bring me this gift. She bought, it was a handmade shell necklace, 2 Solomon Island lavas, or I'm not sure what you call them, which I didn't expect, and I actually felt awful, but she wanted to express how much she was grateful for that. So that's a little bit about the project in a brief presentation. It was an amazing trip, very humbling. I was very grateful, and I've got plenty more work to do. So yes, thank you so much to the Days for Girls women who, and I'm assuming they're all women. A few blokes. A few blokes, of course. Bruce. For their amazing contribution, which really has benefited and changed some people's lives. So thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to share with you. If I'm not sure if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask. I guess now's the time.
Wow. Can I say that after listening to that, I had 100 questions, but I'm just a bit speechless. I think Kathy's sitting over here and she's got a bit of a tear in her eye hearing the impact that it all has, the Days for Girls projects actually had. And I guess from my point of view, to see a project that, you get excited about doing these kits for Days for Girls, but to actually hear the difference that it makes, and that's what really makes a difference here. So, Tara, I'll hand back to you and sort of for you to ask any questions and that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to open it up. We have a bit longer if Niki can hang around. So does anyone have any questions for Niki?
How many sanitary items are actually in one kit? I'm just curious.
There's enough for 2 changes. So I don't know, Kathy might be better to explain it, but there's enough for 2 changes. There's that's a good idea.
Just squeeze on over.
Yep, I'll squeeze in. Each kit has 2 shields which are washable, and then in those are liners, and there's 8 liners. So, if they can last them a couple of days, and then of course they just wash them. So, yeah.
I have a question. So if they are actually washing them, how do they do this hygienically under the conditions that they're all washing in now, which is just basically the fresh spring water that comes out of the, out of the ground, and soap and no hot water?
Yeah. And the Sun has an amazing, and if you haven't, there is a lot of info on the Days for Girls website, the international website. But the Sun basically kills bacteria. So they're designed that they can be hung out without it looking, being obvious about what it is. They're just little squares, the liners. So they're great to be washable. So they are provided with part of the pack is Ziploc bags, because some of the countries that we go to have a very limited supply of water, and a small bar of soap. But really, we know the soap's not going to last them forever, but unfortunately the freight costs, or the weight of soap, all they get is those little hotel bars of soap. But yes, the antibacterial properties of hanging them out in the sun are deemed to be satisfactory.
I mean, it's not like they don't have access to get soap anyway. I mean, there's plenty of that in town. And the soap, actually, I thought in Vanuatu myself, I think is actually quite cheap.
Yeah.
Compared to Australia, some of those the cheaper bars that they do have over that are from France or from America are way cheaper than the Australian brand and New Zealand brands anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
I have something I'd like to share with you. When Ingrid told me about this project, I told her that I know the product. I don't know here where you can find it, but I'm from Colombia, and I know something is called, it's like a cup. It's made out of latex.
Yes.
And it's reusable. You can use it for 10 years, and you don't. The way to wash it is just like in my country, we clean the pacifiers for babies by boiling them just in hot water. And so that's how we use it. So we boil the cup, and then we use it while we have the period. Not everyone, because it's not very famous, but the people that have it. And then after the period is over, then you boil it again and you keep it safe, and then it's very easy to use. And
Yeah. The issue with that is there's a lot of stigma attached to those, and this is what the Days for Girls project found, is that the insertion of it is quite stigmatized in a lot of countries. So that's why they've gone down this avenue. But yes, I agree, it is another alternative for a lot of places that that could use that.
When I asked a woman what they currently do, basically they stay home, or they use rags. So, and they're kind of shamed a little bit in the process of while they have their periods. So they were very, very interested in the kits. Is material, so it's kind of the next thing up from rags, but they can wash them and take care of those.
And they look gorgeous. I will just say, Bruce and I were just in Vanuatu on a cruise 3 weeks ago, and we went on a tour with this guy, and without saying anything about Days for Girls, he was just telling us all about, what people do in Vanuatu and, about their lifestyle and whatnot. And he actually said, over here, when the woman gets a period, she stays at home and the husband has to do everything because the wife can't go anywhere. So, we were, talking about someone who was living in, not the sort of outer villages of Vanuatu. So I was quite surprised by it, and I think my eyes have been opened by Niki's trip, because I realised just what it was like there. I think of Africa, but I never thought the Pacific was, like that as well.
Oh, no, it's definitely still like that. I mean, we're at Eton, which is on the eastern southern side of Vanuatu, and our local village is Eton. So our staff come from Eton.
We saw that. We saw that.
Yeah. So, but they are still in that frame of mind, even though they are not far from town. Their village still has certain traditions that are followed, and right down to the fact that the women need to be home by a certain time because they have to provide the food. So my housekeeper, even though her husband is our gardener, we ensure that they finish work by no later than 3:30, so they can get back to the village, so she can then walk the 1.5 K or whatever it might be up into the mountains to their gardens to pick the vegetables that she's going to be cooking for dinner that night.
Yeah.
So the traditions are very strong and very much alive.
Yeah.
And yes, when it comes to the girls and the women having their periods, yeah, they're basically, you stay indoors, you don't go and do anything. And then, you know, then what are they going to do? Because there are a lot of men that don't work.
Yeah. Yeah. My question
and the women are expected to do everything.
Yes. So my question to Niki is, how many more do you need?
Yes, how many more does she need? And what is the material made out of? Is it cotton? Is it all cotton, pure cotton?
Yeah, there's different components to it. So the shield itself is 100% cotton. We tend to get a lot of quilting cotton. It also has a waterproof layer in between, which we've got a special deal that we can purchase it for. So we buy that and provide that to anyone who's sewing. And then the liners themselves are actually made from flannelette. So we're often asked, you know, can we use toweling, can we use this? No, we can't. We stick to Days for Girls guidelines. You know, they've been tried and tested out in the field, and that's what we stick to. So, yeah.
Okay. Did we have any further questions for Niki?
When's your next trip?
I'm
To
going,
Vanuatu?
yeah, 2nd of July.
To Vanuatu?
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe that you have a stationery supplier already, do you?
No, the stationery was provided by just donations.
Okay.
I knew, yeah.
I might have a supplier for you. He actually from Easy Office Supplies in the Gold Coast.
Okay. Wonderful.
AJ, so he...
I know AJ.
Do you know AJ?
I do know AJ.
So we did a big fundraiser last year called Paella in the Park. So we raised all the money, which went to sinking the water bores at Eton because they ran out of water in September. And we were actually witness to them actually turning their taps on for the first time in January, where they've got water for the first time. So that was rather an emotional day for us to go out to the village and see that. But AJ supplied me with a bit of stationery to go over, and he's very, I don't know, he's just very keen to just, whoever's going to any country that is third world, he's happy to just give out stationery. He doesn't even count it, he just hands it over. So he just goes, here you go, take it. So, and of course, we're not probably going again until the end of the year. So I might be able to give AJ a call and see what he could possibly be able to offer. So perhaps Kathy can connect Niki and I. Yes. And we can discuss, and you can tell me your needs, Niki, and then I can speak with AJ to see if he's going to be able to supply.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and you obviously need the clear plastic bags as well, correct? Was what I was saying.
Oh, the Ziploc bags.
The Ziplocs.
Bags. Yes, that was our latest call out for the washing of them. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, Ing, I think you had a question?
Yes, we've got a lot of the fish and chip little jumpers and some with beanies and things like that. Is that the sort of thing that you could use as well?
They are beautiful.
They're knitted. So
can I say, when I was in Vanuatu and we spoke to Chrissy, he said one of the biggest things they need is baby clothes at the hospital. This was 50 years ago now.
But I would imagine that they might be too hot because...
Look, I'm saying
I was worried about.
Yeah, it was extremely hot. It was in the 40s when we were there. There are no fans working in the hospital. But these little babies were wrapped in blankets. I'm not sure why. So,
well, I think they're probably just getting the warmth of the mother's womb.
Oh, it was incredibly hot.
Well, maybe what we can do is get a few of them over there, and Niki can see from the nurses and if they have a need. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, going in July, it won't be that warm because
Yes, it will be.
we went in like March and it wasn't horrible. It was like high 20s. Was it? If Ian and Heather are listening, they can tell me, but I'm fairly certain it wasn't horrible. Like, it wasn't as hot as summer here.
Okay, Sharon, you live there part of the time. What's it like what's the coldest it gets over there?
Oh, 25.
Right. Okay. But that's
hot. No,
Yeah.
the nights probably drop down to about 18.
Okay. So maybe, yeah.
Okay, so
You do get the winds. It depends which side of the island you're on. Obviously, if we're on the southeastern, so we're constantly getting those easterly winds. When you're on the west, you're going to get the sun going down. So yeah, of course, it's it's a little bit warmer.
so how many should I put aside for you?
You're beautiful.
They're wonderful.
They're gorgeous.
It's
And
so
then
cute.
all over Australia.
I was going to say we've got quite a few, and we've got lovely ladies all over Australia that knit them for us. So we have sent a lot with Kathy, the other Kathy, that's on tonight, and we're also sending a lot to Liberia, but we need a new home for them. So if you can find homes for them, let us know.
I will. Thank you so much. I'll work through.
Yeah.
I'll work through Kathy.
We'll sort it.
Thank you.
Julian's got his finger up.
Yeah, Julian?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you ever have any issues transporting a lot of stuff to Vanuatu.
That's with me.
I got Vietnam on the brain. I was going to suggest maybe get in contact with the Rotary Club of Jimboomba, because I know they have a project over there which they do send a 40-foot container over there every so often. I'm not sure exactly where, but I can get you a contact within that club. I know quite a few people there, so.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Nikki just funded through the GoFundMe her own container. Well, it was shared.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky with the freight. I managed to kind of fill the remainder of the container that was already going. Originally I was supposed to go to Vanuatu, and this container was going to Honiara, and I couldn't get charitable status for the freight going to Vanuatu, so I veered to Honiara, which cost me only something like $130, and I got all of everything through, so it was great. But
yeah, that'd be great contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to ask one more question to Niki. So you have a contact obviously already in Vanuatu
Yes,
where you're distributing all of these?
Yes, yeah. I've got a contact in Honiara. She's there. She shops there. I've also got 2 in Port Vila, and I've got 1 in Santo, a family in Santo that I can work with.
Okay, well, that's cool. It's just that I'm connected with Dr. Margaret McAdam, who's with Hope for Health Vanuatu charity.
Okay.
Her and Dr. Anne Fraser started the vaccinations to all the girls in Vanuatu.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And I'm sure that we can get some to you, Sharon, as well. I know we've been trying to touch base, and it's a bit crazy.
Sorry, I've been eating my dinner while I've been doing this because we only really just walked in the door. So we start early and finish late, and that's pretty much every day.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to come down and see what you do, and then also see if I can find some sponsors to sponsor us some material. So
fabulous. That'd be wonderful. Yeah. We do have our sewing day on Saturday. I think, Sharon, are you coming down for that?
I don't think I'll be able to because I've got retreat in Malanda, which is on Tuesday. So I'm still gathering to do stuff for that because
we'll talk about that.
Fly out. So, but
Anybody
we will
else?
Contact.
Yes. Anybody else? The sewing day is this Saturday at Mullendina. If anybody else is free, we're more than welcome to have sewers, people who can cut out, people who can trace a pattern. That's all we need. So, yeah.
That'll be all I can do because I can't sew to save myself.
That's okay. We have plenty of other jobs.
I'll be there.
Nice to meet you all, and keep up the fantastic work, what you're doing. Fantastic.
Thank you for the wonderful talk, Niki. That was wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Niki.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Nikki and Kathy, for coming online. It was great to see you guys. And yeah, thanks for sharing with us all about that awesome project. And we will continually keep getting updates on Days for Girls regularly from Bruce and Kathy. So if you do have any questions along the way, we will hear lots more about this project, maybe, hopefully. Yes, Bruce wasn't nodding, and I was wondering, he was just staring at me blankly. All good.
No, actually, just on the Days of Girls, we're pleased that, and I can't tell you where it is because I don't know, but we've just found out that we've got a hall. Whereabouts is it?
Trinity Lutheran College.
Here at Ashmore.
Yep.
So they've come to the party with a hall hire, which means every second Saturday we can get it back now. The second Saturday and every second month we can get it back to an 8:30 start rather than destroying the whole day for people. So that's only just come through, which is really great. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect. All right. So before we close this off, does anyone have any more club news? Except I will quickly start by saying I'm 90% certain there is a board meeting this Thursday.
There is.
For board members. Yes.
Yep.
I haven't
There's a
heard
board
from Ray
meeting.
though. Ray's not online. That's strange. But yes, board meeting Thursday night. Couldn't be a long one because I don't know how much I've missed. Actually, it could be a long one, but we should be right. Other than that, any other club business?
Yeah, just a plug for anyone who
I'll
wants
sign off. Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Hi.
Anybody that wants to come to the movies, is it next Monday? It's next Monday, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, it's pretty nice.
This is for, obviously you've got to be on the Gold Coast, that helps. But this is to, it's a fundraising for Oz Harvest. So it's, I don't know, lady in a van or something like that. Which, yeah, so that's next Monday. So, Ing, you bought your tickets?
Yes, yes, we've got our tickets.
So there's a few of us going. You're welcome to come along. Also, just a plug for anyone who hasn't seen it. We got the catch up with Peter on the 4th of March.
Yep.
So Peter's coming up to the Gold Coast, so we're going to go down to Night Quarter on the Friday and test it out. So that's happening as well.